No.
Bill O'Reilly, remember? It's like
Oh, I don't know.
one of the first things on the internet that went viral. It's from like 20 years ago.
Ah, I don't know that.
We do it live. We do it
Dude,
live.
you're like ancient, so I don't know that.
Ancient? You mean
Yeah.
mature, experienced,
No, just
wise,
ancient.
gang.
I mean, you're like, I think 2 years older than me, but still, that's ancient.
What are you talking about? I'm only 2 years older than you?
I think so. I think we talked about this, and
Wait, what year were you
you're
born?
maybe 96.
Oh, okay.
You were born in 93, right?
92.
Ah, so 4 years. Yeah. See, that's ancient.
But why do you act like such a teenager then, Syawish?
Dude, that's called being young on the inside.
You're not young on the outside, though. I'll tell you that now. You look like you're 47 years old on a good
Well,
day.
it's just, you're as old as you feel. So
So that means you're not young on the inside either, because if you feel old,
true.
yeah,
I feel like boiled potatoes, so I don't know what that is.
okay, whatever. All
So
right.
yeah. So we got our first question that actually I'm very, very ill-equipped to answer.
Yeah.
Um, since you're from the UK, maybe you want to talk about the recent UK riots.
Oh yeah. Goddamn. I wasn't ready. I thought we were gonna talk about some history,
Oh
not
yeah,
some
I
non-factual.
wasn't. I to be honest, I don't know that much about it. I just know I just saw some of the videos, but I didn't look into like the background of the whole thing.
Okay. What do I think? Um, it's sad. Yeah, it's sad. Obviously, it's sad from the perspective of ethnic minorities. It's sad from the perspective of civil discord. But I think the saddest aspect of it is it's merely a distract. Not merely, that kind of brushes it under the carpet a little. The issue of too much migration into a country. Um,
Mhm.
but I think it overshadows other really important, other really pertinent issues that British society in general is going through. Fix your housing prices. Why are you worrying about ethnic uh, immigration? So much immigration coming into the country. Fix your housing crisis. Fix your economy. Fix loads of other problems, and then you
Mhm.
can address this. Um, yeah, and it's always sad. It's always sad to see in moments when a society is going through difficult times, uh, that people get pulled apart in
Mhm.
those time periods. Um, so yeah,
Yeah. I mean, oftentimes we see this that when a country has a lot of economic problems, the others or the immigrants are pretty easy to blame for the whole thing rather than, fixing the main problems. If crime is high because unemployment is high or the cost of living is high, it's pretty easy to blame the immigrants for that.
yeah. And
But yeah.
the thing is, this makes it a slightly nuanced point. I'm gonna be completely honest. I know I'm gonna seem like a hypocrite, a self-hater, blah. You can throw any of those words at me, but I don't think it's very responsible, the way most Western countries have carried out their immigration policy. I think they let in way too many people way too quickly. I think all it does, it just requires very basic common sense. It's not about good or bad, is it's just going to destabilize things if you do too much too quickly. Bring in as many immigrants as you want, just space them out a little bit more. It's just going to be too big of a shock to the system. The people who are already there, they're used to a certain language, culture, religion, cuisine, all of those things. If you introduce too many new people at once, it's not gonna be good. So I do think there is that issue. Does that mean that you can pick up arms and start rioting and tell the immigrants to get out of my bloody country? No, because I don't think that's fair either. Because all right, go on, kick out every single ethnic minority in the UK. Who's gonna be your flipping barista? Who's gonna be your waiter, your waitress? Who's gonna be working the desk at Heathrow? all of these jobs. White people are straight up, white British people are straight up not having enough kids. Did you know this, Syawish? I learned this recently. My boy told me this. This is hilarious. This blows my mind, by the way. White British people, on average, have 1.87 children. Syawish, why are you not mind blown? You should be mind blown by this.
Because I know that already.
No, but do you know what that means? If they're having
I
one
do
point,
know that
what?
they
What is
they,
it?
they need to be having 2.1 kids
There you go. They're not
for
even
the
having
replacement
enough
rate. Yeah.
kids. They're not even having enough kids to keep the population steady. The
I mean,
population, that's ridiculous. You know, there's an entire
that's
theory. It's called the Great White Replacement.
replacement. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's touted as this far right theory. Dude, the math
Dude,
says that's exactly what's happening anyway.
no. Here's the thing is, okay, most of the world, the developed world, I think, barring France and the US,
Yeah.
is not beating the replacement rate. Germany is not. South Korea is, I think, having the most devastating
I
sort
know
of
about
effect of
South
this.
Korea and Japan.
Yeah, and most of the developed world has this problem. And to call it great replacement or whatever, like most of these countries, like the US, for example, it's too big.
Yeah.
Canada specifically, it's too big and its population is too little.
Yeah.
And it needs immigrants. But its problem is that I mean, democracies have a problem with like big projects, right? Like they cannot build a city in the same way that, for example, a dictatorship can.
Yeah.
So they cannot like make these big projects, big housing developments and stuff that would house all these immigrants. So to make things better in a way.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's again, it comes down to capitalism. It's too expensive to have kids, and they don't really do anything anymore. I mean, there
Okay.
was a time when you were living. Listen, when you were living on a farm,
Mhm.
you wanted to have like 6, 7 kids because they would help on the farm. But
Yeah.
now kids don't really do anything, especially in like the developed world. Look at it from that sense. You have kids, you raise them for 18 years, and then they go do their own stuff, right? And apartments are not good for families, but
Yeah.
housing is too expensive, education
True.
is too expensive, everything. That's the problem with capitalism. It's not really a race thing. It's capitalism that needs to be fixed in order to you got to make having babies easier and cheaper.
Okay. You know what I realized? I'm not made for debates because I just want to cut in as soon as something comes into my head. Are you finished talking? Can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So you're not crazy for saying what you said. I think you do have a point. But dude, it's not, you don't hit the nail on the head with just that one point. I think that's one of multiple different points. The point that I like to focus on more than the socioeconomic difficulties and the capitalism making it difficult for people to have kids and making it more expensive, priorities. I don't think people prioritize it. Me personally, I want, at least by Western standards, a lot of kids, at least 3, 4, 5 kids. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to have to look at my financial status to see how that lines up, but I'm going to prioritize having a lot of kids. So there's a higher likelihood of me having more kids, right? If I have to eat into, instead of 2 holidays a year, 1 holiday a year so that I can have an extra kid, I'll do that gladly. Gladly. Oh, I need to upgrade to this amazing TV station, but you know what? It's gonna like cost a little bit more. And I do need to spend some money on the kid, nappies, blah blah blah, all of that weird stuff, cribs. Boom. I'm spending it on that. I don't want to spend it on a TV. Priorities make a big difference, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because from time when you're having one kid, dude, if you're, say for example in the UK, I know it depends on every country. If you're making 40, 50 grand, and then your wife is probably making whatever, just another 30, 40K, collectively you're bringing in almost 100K. How does that justify you having 1 or 2 kids? How much money do you want to earn before you start having 3, 4, 5 kids? What, you think it takes millions of pounds to raise like 4 kids?
The
It's
cost of sorry.
all right, it's not that expensive. I get it. Having kids is expensive. There are certain friends and people in my life right now that are going through that process, and they're complaining about it plenty. But even when they break it down to me, it's not as expensive as people are making it out.
Like, look at this. You want, let's say, you want 5 kids. For
Inshallah.
that, you're gonna need you cannot do that in like 2 bedroom apartment, right? Or two
Yeah,
bedroom house.
of course.
You're gonna need at least like a 4 bedroom house to be able
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And do you have any idea of the rent in most cities in North America at least?
Yeah.
I'm sure the same is true for UK. I lived in Germany. I know the rents are lower there, at least compared to
No, in the UK
here.
it's higher. Uh, the UK is higher, probably higher than most places in America. I don't know about Canada. I feel like Canada is probably a little bit more.
Canada is hella expensive.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know compared to how it is compared to the UK, but see that's the point that you gotta have you gotta have like the resources to do that. It's not that you don't eat out once a year and you can say that you can have kids, but the rent it goes up by a factor of like 2 or 3
Right.
it's specific situations.
I fully understand what you're saying, but this is my point. If you just hang your hat on that one point, with all due respect, Syawish, I hope you understand that I'm a nice guy and I'm not trying to be rude when I say this. I think that's a cop out. I think that's a cop out,
Hmm.
dude. It is. It is. It's a matter of mentality. You have to have a shift in your mentality. This is why I said that word before, priorities. Okay, Tariq is not saying he's going to have 5 kids in 5 years back to back. All right. I'm going to have it over 15, 20 years. I don't have a problem with that. It's just making sure that you place it as an utmost priority. Once you do that, this is the great thing about life. I'm telling you. Of course, all of life is basically you traversing a middle ground between things that you want, goals, priorities, blah blah blah, and then realities. Okay, and then it's just you mediating and like making your way, traversing that plane in the middle between those two things. If you've got this bad boy figured out and you've got some competence and over like 10, 15 years of working in a corporate structure or 10, 15 years having your own business, you're gonna do okay. You're going to do okay. You just need to figure out the priorities first. And I think my focus lays way more on the cultural, psychological, the cultural slash psyche of the West, as opposed to material realities, which are a madness, by the way. The material realities, the price of houses, the price of rent, the price of goods, the price of living is ridiculously high. I think it's legitimately not one of. It is the biggest problem going through most Western societies right now, and I think it's unacceptable. But I'm telling you, the majority of the problem lies in the psyche. It's not in the cult. It's not in the material realities.
I'm gonna I'm gonna um I'm gonna make a note and I'm gonna ask you about this in 20 years
Yeah, do
because
it.
we're getting
Tell me,
we're getting a lot of other questions, so we should get on that.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm
But
gonna
for
ask you about
people,
this in
no,
20
no, no.
years.
One second. Before we move on, because this is quite a lit topic. Um, what are people saying? Let me see.
Well, some
Wow,
people
wait.
really.
Before we move on, look at Bati, the guy who asked the question, Bati. Also, no offense, you guys look like you have aged 20 years.
It's 20
My,
years.
my brother, why would you say something like that?
Dude,
What do you
nah, it's
mean?
cool. It's cool.
That's not cool, Masa. What do you mean? How have I aged 20 years?
No, he said you look like you've aged 20 years. I don't know. It's like, I mean, I don't know.
Thoughts on the Olympic opening ceremony? Terrible, disgusting, stupid as well. From the perspective of the people organizing it, it's the same thing with that first official painting of King Charles of Britain.
Mhm.
Why would you not think to yourself for a split second,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
this might get perceived in a really weird way by people? What's wrong with you? Do you want to just annoy people for the sake of annoying them? One second. What else? What else is there? Good afternoon. Hey, Freeze Child. What's happening to the gaming channel, friend? Nobody cares about the gaming channel. What if Vienna
Dude,
fell? Okay, what do you believe? Poor countries have more kids, Syawish, so money isn't the main factor. AJ, talk facts, my brother.
yeah, actually, I read that.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor countries have more kids, but look at the standard of living, first of all, those countries have. Secondly, like for example, I'm from Pakistan and I own my own house there, right? I had all these resources. The rent is much lower. The wages are lower too, but the rent is much lower. The cost of living in general is quite a
It
bit
is, but
lower.
people have less money too. People have less money.
Like
Come on,
look at yeah, look at the cost of education in Pakistan, for example, for a middle compared to a middle class income, and the cost of education in this country or in the UK or
in the UK, there's no
or
cost. There's no cost.
oh yeah,
There's
Germany
not
too. Yeah,
zero,
but
zero.
but
Yeah.
but in general, look at the quality of life that those countries have. Plus, generally, a lot of things are cheaper there. Like poorer countries, like Pakistan, etc. The cost of real estate is quite a bit lower than it is here.
Okay, but
So
what's the
there's
average? How much do people earn in Pakistan on average, and how much do people earn in the UK on average?
that's no comparison again because the cost of living factor comes in. I mean, it costs for me to it's actually cheaper for me. I am like paying installments on a piece of land that I own in Pakistan,
Mm.
and it's less.
Proper
The
communist,
installment is
by the way.
Mhm.
That's very communist of you, by the way.
Okay. I'll get back on to that. But the cost, the installment that is a lot of money in Pakistan is less than the cost of my monthly groceries here in Canada. So that there's a, it's
No, see, I
not.
wish that makes sense, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the real poor people in Pakistan, and there's loads of them. I've seen them. Okay, proper poor people, damn near poverty. Okay, by Western standards, half of Pakistan is in poverty. By the way, more than half. But like, I'm talking real, legitimate poverty. But yet they still have 5 kids, 4 kids, easy.
Yeah, what kind of lives those do those kids have?
It's a life. I mean, you can make that same argument about what kind of life do people in the developed Western world have. Just grow up, have nine to five.
Look at the that's a philosophical issue. The 9 to 5 thing, that's a totally
That's my
different thing.
whole point. It's a psyche thing, Syawish. Of course, the realities, the economic harsh realities, make a massive difference. Not a big difference, a massive difference. But it is not, under any circumstances, the be all and end all. It is not. That is a cop out. I'm telling you.
Dude, like I said, you live in the developed world. I'm gonna talk to you in 20 years, and we're gonna find out how many kids you had,
Please.
how much money you have at that point, and
Okay.
how.
Just for reference, my goal is minimum 3 to 5. Okay, so
Mhm.
hold me to that. 3 to 5. That's it.
All
In
right,
20 years. Yeah.
all right. We'll talk about that in 20
We
years.
will. All right. Carrot
Um,
beans. How did it come? Access to birth control is also a factor. Free child, that's tremendous. It absolutely is. Again, this comes down to mentality. Birth control is not as openly accepted or a norm in certain other developing countries, whereas in the West, it's like if you almost don't use
yeah.
it,
So what ends up happening without birth control is that you have kids that you didn't plan.
right? So what? What's the problem?
So, you have a bunch of accidental kids. It doesn't actually make things any better. It doesn't, you didn't plan according to your economic situation. You didn't plan according to your
At
house.
least you're not
You
gonna get
just had a bunch of
replaced.
kids.
At least you're not gonna get replaced, dude. If you have
Well,
less,
what does it matter if you get well if we're talking about what does it matter if the quality of life doesn't matter, then why does replacement matter? Why does it matter that the president tomorrow is not going to be of my race?
see, I wish. Are you crazy? What are you talking? Dude, you like leftist ideologies. Revolutions are an inherent aspect of leftist ideologies. Do you know what's going to happen if a country for 1,000, 1,500 years, through tiny little shifts and developments, of course, is used to a certain type of culture? Let's just, yeah, like a culture slash societal norm. And then in the space of 60, 70 years, that gets radically changed to a new culture. People with a cultural background that is totally different to yours, languages that are totally different to yours, religious backgrounds that are totally different to yours. Do you know what kind of upheaval, what kind of like changes those are going to bring?
Tell
And
me,
be nice
tell me,
little changes.
tell me, what changes, what such bad changes have come to the British society or the Canadian society or the American society?
Well,
Because
I'll be
these
completely honest with you. You see these the 20 minutes, 18 minutes ago,
the
started.
riots are
Those
not the
riots,
riots are
basically the worst case scenario is those riots on steroids, because as a country goes through changes, and as it goes through, can we swear on this, by the way?
well, let's not.
Crappy situations. You yourself said the first people that are going to get blamed are immigrants. And so when a country is going through those crappy situations, where do you think the finger is going to be pointed at? Is it going to be corrupt, incompetent politicians who are not doing their job, who the finger should be being pointed at? No, it's going to be at the immigrants. It's going to be at people that are easy targets. And it's not going to be fun for the immigrants.
Yeah, but the blame is not just because they're going to get blamed for an economic situation that it's not their fault doesn't mean
Right.
that we should stop immigration. You're talking about like radical
Absolutely.
cultural changes
No, but
and
see, I wish.
religious changes.
So I wish you can't be idealistic. If the realities say that that is what's going to happen, then whether or not it is right or not doesn't matter. When this is my whole point. This is why I despise revolutionary politics. Okay, this is why the only label politically I am comfortable with putting on myself, because I am a conservative towards change, is because when things start changing really quickly, really messed up things happen to society
What
on a
messed up
whole.
things?
Sorry.
Okay, the UK has been taking in immigrants for 100 years.
Not
Right?
100. Not come on, don't be disingenuous just to help your argument. 70, but it's really
I mean,
sped up in the last
there were people
30 years.
there were people move. I mean, there are people in the UK whose grandparents came from
But it's numbers. Syawish,
Pakistan and India.
Baijan.
Okay, let's
numbers.
say 30 years. How many race riots have there been in those 30 years?
A couple, not that many, but a lot
Yeah.
of that has been offset by the fact that Britain has, up until the last 7 years, been going through an excellent period in its history in regards to economics.
Really? Ever since like that Brexit thing?
A little bit after Brexit, but I think, yeah, Brexit was a big, significant part of it. Dude, the 1990s and the 2000s were exceptional for
Let's see,
Britain.
you're ancient. You said 7, 8 years, and you're talking about the 1990s and 2000s. I'm talking about like 8 years ago was 2016.
Right. So what's your point?
I'm talking that's okay. Let's talk about something else because there's questions here that I want to get to.
Dude, this is an interesting conversation.
It's interesting.
Okay, wait. Let's go through other stuff, man. Wait, one sec. Why are you so ready to go past this? How did it come to be that Tariq? What a nicely phrased opening. How did it come to be that Tariq is a YouTube educator and his brothers are literally cage fighters signed to the UFC? Well, interesting little fact. Your boy Tariq, big fan of MMA. I've practiced jiu-jitsu, wrestling a little bit in my life. And then also on the conversely, my brothers, both of them, surprisingly cultural lads. Farid specifically is very interested in history. His knowledge of history would shock damn near everybody, at least most people. So it's not a crazy surprise, to be honest.
Yeah, Tariq is the propaganda wing of the Basharat family.
Gang, yes, exactly. Me and my brothers, we got a long-term plan. Long-term plan. It includes Afghanistan, it includes the Ummah, it includes the UK. And yeah, we're just gonna make loads of revolutionary change.
Future historians are gonna be really disappointed in us for letting Tariq stay here.
Syawish, I don't do that, Syawish. I taught you everything you know about history.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm just joking.
Okay. Somebody said kids are an investment vehicle in poor countries, but an economic burden in rich countries. Damn, we got some educated people making some educated comments. The more society gets modern, the more it gets complicated. Many people don't have kids because they are pessimistic. Wealthy societies tend to be more pessimistic than poor ones. I don't know about that one. I like, I don't know about that one. Look at Religions and Babies by Hans Rosling. The reduction in birth rate is universal regardless of culture or religion. The reason is
You
material.
really want to talk about this, don't you?
Huh?
You really want to talk about this, don't you? Because you keep talking about
Dude, they got good comments and good questions. Why are we gonna move on? Ask us weird, not weird, but like questions that every like History Channel gets asked. Oh, what do you think would happen if the Abbasids didn't win the Battle of Talas? Blah blah blah.
That's also true. I mean, I really dislike questions like that. Somebody is calling me a typical Lahore communist who acts socialist in the West, but is a capitalist. When it suits him, his ilk shall be dealt with. First of all, what do you mean dealt with? What does that mean? Also, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
from Lahore. I'm from.
I would say, please, let's not get violent. But I do support the overall sentiment of the statement. But it shall be dealt with sounds real ominous. Okay, let's
Yeah,
chill
that
out.
sounds real ominous. That's like with the attack on Trump, these things have become too real recently.
Okay, now we can move on. So what is this? Thoughts on Iman Khalif situation, and is it fair for females with significantly more androgens than normal to be matched up with those with a normal level? Did you
Oh, I actually want to hear this.
are you clued up about this? Do you know what
I
this?
am, yes.
Okay, so first of all, I think it just shows the retarded is not a swear word, right?
No, but it's kind of a banned word. It's kind of, well, you don't care about cancel, so it's fine.
Yeah, but I also want to be respectful to your YouTube channel. I don't want to get you in trouble with YouTube. Yeah, I'm gonna use it. Okay.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
I think it's fine.
It shows the retardedness of the internet that in the first week, and I'm pretty sure even by now, some people still believe that this chick was born as a male and then transitioned into a chick. You know, it's a woman, right?
Yeah.
There was no sex change.
Yeah, and this person is not asking, what they're talking about is significantly more androgens than
I
normal to
know,
be
I know, I know,
matched
I
up
know,
in
I know.
this.
I know. I just wanted to
Yeah.
give some context. Oh man, it's a tricky situation. Obviously, first of all, if you have a sex change, you transition from being a man to being a woman. I think it's ridiculous. Absolute no. You should not be allowed to compete with women. But if you're born a woman and you just have more androgens, it's so difficult to say anything. And usually I'm so decisive with these things.
Is it
I don't,
really?
huh?
I
Yeah.
mean,
What?
that's let's compare it to like basketball, right?
Right.
The taller a player is, the more advantage he has, and height is not something you can control. And so, if you come to that conclusion, then basically what you're talking about is that if a player is like 6'4",
Yeah.
then he should be in some sort of a different league, and all the players in a league should be the same height. And
Decent point. I'm surprised to say that I think I might agree with you. Especially because if you look at this chick's record, I think she's lost 9 times her
yeah,
professional or amateur record. So clearly, it's not making that big of a
to
difference.
be honest, I think this is just it's a little bit about white women's tears, because there's a white woman who was crying, so it sort of got picked up a
Yeah,
lot. But also it's about the fact that there's this. I mean, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, think about the woman who is being. Everybody is saying, "Oh, she looks like a man," and there's an investigation going on and all that. It's just ridiculous, to be honest. That people have too much time on their hands. And in terms of like androgens, I don't think that there's like, at the moment, I think they do have some kind of a test, and Imane Khalif didn't make it last in some last competition, didn't make it because of some hormones or something. I don't know about that, but yeah. So in this case, it's I think it's normal for players in the same match to have physical um, differences, because yeah, that's just luck, and luck is part of the sports.
yeah. Okay, can I choose the next question,
Yeah,
please?
sure.
Again, it's by the same guy, Masahab Bati,
Hmm.
decent one. Why do societies become less
Less
religious as they
religious.
become more developed, like in the West? Go on, talk about it first. You go first.
I'm gonna answer this question with the assumption that, let's say there is no God. That's an assumption that I'm making at the beginning of this.
Okay.
In societies that are not developed, like Pakistan or like, our countries, you need God. You need, because
Yeah.
state is not helping you. So you need God, or you need some kind of a greater power that is protecting you, that at least you believe is protecting you. When your kid goes out and, in the middle of the night, they can get robbed, they can get killed. You need God. You need someone, some way of knowing that. But then you come to the West, and there's a little bit more of a state presence. So that level of God is replaced to a larger extent by the state, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of the reason that religion they become less religious, because religion doesn't play that much of a value anymore. And in our communities, smaller communities in the developing world, religion also plays a part in community. You would have, like in Pakistan, you would have people from a village or a neighborhood all going to the mosque for praying, and they have sort of a communal interaction there, and that whole thing. That also, I think, is largely dead in the West. Community is dead. You have friends, but they don't necessarily live nearby and stuff like that. So I think that that's part of the reason that religion drops out, because it's not needed. At least people perceive it as not needed anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I disagree with that so much. I would say so. First of all, these are two different questions. We're gonna go through the first one first. Um, this might sound really pessimistic of me. Sorry, there's something on my screen. I can't- this might sound real pessimistic of me, but I think a part of it is explained by arrogance. Arrogance. I think when a society becomes developed, and it clearly is making progress, real considerable progress, like the kind of progress, for example, that Europe, yeah, and America and Canada and Australia are an extension of that, made throughout the, let's just say, mid 1800s to like the 2000s.
Mhm.
That kind of progress, I think it does something to your psyche where it's almost as if you feel like you mentioned, you don't need like God, you know? Whereas in the medieval times, where the resources meaning not necessarily just finances, but like even medicines that you have and all of those other things that you have are comparatively to now fairly primitive. Um, you feel as if you need to rely on a higher source much more to explain scientific phenomena because of the lack of knowledge you have, and just loads of other things. Basically, I'm trying to say that before people were much more humble in regards to their place in the universe. But now, when you're coming up with vaccines, when you're putting man on the moon and all of these other things, I'm sure it does something to the human brain where you're like, eh, do we really need this God person? Do we really
Mhm.
need this thing called religion? I'm doing great without it. I don't go church on Sundays, and I just cleared 1 million in the last quarter. My house is much bigger now than it was before. So do I really need God? And then another thing, I feel like we should mention this real quick and then skip past it because we could be here for the next 45 minutes, or I could be here for the next 45 minutes. I think there was something really weird in the Western modernization where they almost, I don't want to say they did it on purpose, but I also can't say they didn't do it on purpose. They purposefully cut the links between them and religion.
Mark. Yeah, just a second. My cat is here, and I
I'm
want
in the middle
to
of an
introduce
attack,
him to you guys. By the way,
right?
this is a big chunker.
Tell Greyjoy to
Yeah,
go away, bro.
dude, he doesn't go away. He's very clingy.
That's why I don't like cats.
Dude, why do you not like cats? Who doesn't like cats?
They're so materialistic. They're so there's this word matlabi. Like they only come to you when they need something. Are you
Selfish.
dumb? That's crazy.
Dude, that's the point. You don't have to, like, it's like he's chilling out. He's like doing his
At
own
that
thing. I'm
point,
doing my own thing.
you're the pet. They're not the pets.
Yeah, and that matters why.
Are you crazy, Syawish? You'd be okay with being a pet for somebody? What's wrong with you? You're not a pet.
Why
No.
is that wrong? Like, if he considers me his pet, I kind of like that. It's cute.
Are you? That means he's the dude. It's his house. Force him to pay rent then. Does he pay rent right
Honestly, 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 it feels like that sometimes because he sleeps on my bed, and I'm sleeping on like this much, and then he's sleeping on like this much.
now? Yeah, which
So
is
it does feel
hilarious.
like that at times.
If I was in your position, I'd kick that cat out right now in the middle of the live stream. Are you crazy? He doesn't pay rent, but he acts like the place
He's
is
my
his own.
boy. He's my bro. I can't kick him out.
Bro, you got some Stockholm syndrome going on.
Dude, but he's my bro. Like, he's so cute, dude. Like, look at him. Aw,
All right.
he's licking himself.
All right, all right. Don't say like that. So whatever. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. So as I kind of alluded to right towards the end before Greyjoy flipping interrupted me, do you think the Islamic world as it develops will go through a similar path? I don't think the Islamic world will go through a similar path. I flip and hope not. I think the Western model was real strange. The way they just not bastardized, but like the way they just kind of like kicked religion out of their socio-cultural outlook on life. I think it was irresponsible. I think it was done in a very, very sloppy, arrogant, hubristic manner. I don't know how many fingers that is. And I don't think that's natural. And with Islam, I think it could still happen with Islam, but I would bet my money if I had to that it wouldn't happen with Islam, because Islam is, with all due respect to Christianity, a lot more of a comprehensive package. Yeah. Islam openly and confidently states that it can provide answers for essentially any aspect of human life. Spiritual, yes, obviously it's a flippant religion. It's got to do that at the bare minimum. But even societal, even political, right? Like if you look at Sharia law and you look at just how comprehensive that is, any issue that your brain can come up with, Sharia law through the various jurisprudence schools, which I know happened over a couple of hundred years, has got answers or has attempts at answers for all of those things. And another thing, I hope this doesn't come across as being very controversial, because it's kind of true. Muslims take Islam a lot more seriously than Christians take Christianity. So not just now necessarily. I think even like in the past, I'm not a proper expert on Christianity in early modern / medieval Europe, so I feel a little disingenuous for saying that. But Islam is just too deeply embedded into the societies that it governs, that I don't think something like that would happen in Islam. I don't think. In the 20th century, there have been plenty of examples of politicians' ideologies that sought to secularize, to sever itself from, to varying degrees, sever itself, not 100%, sever itself from its Islamic source, but none of those have succeeded. None of those have succeeded. Baathism, where the hell is Baathism? It's laughed at now. There's no Baathists that have any real chance. I get it, Syria, Bashar al-Assad, he is a successor to that, but I don't know how much of that is actual Baathist ideology and how much of it is just Alawite, Assad, autocracy. So I don't see that happening in the Islamic world. I don't think so.
Okay, I don't want to talk about this, to be honest. I've forgotten what we're talking about. This is a question that my friend and I were just talking about the other day. Do you guys believe your nationality has an effect on how you will get certain figures and events?
Absolutely.
I mean, definitely. Of course, this is like if you ask about Nader Shah from an Iranian or Abdali from an Afghan, and you ask about those guys from like Punjabis or Indians, you're gonna get very different answers. Same for like people like Genghis Khan and like all these figures. Everybody is a hero in one book and a villain in the other book, and nationality does definitely have an impact on that. Dude, you're in Marrakesh.
I was not now, but before. Yeah, yeah.
Somebody has commented, "What are you doing in Marrakesh?"
Oh, what do people do in Marrakesh? Kill me. Just a holiday, man. It was a vibe, man. The Kutubia is a proper vibe.
Uh-huh.
Every day.
Dude, I've
I
been
was
meaning to travel to Islamic countries for so long, but it just has never materialized.
to an
Oh
Islamic
yeah, this
country.
is
Any?
yeah, Marrakesh, Uzbekistan, a couple Egypt. I've planned multiple times, Jordan, but it just never materialized.
Yeah. Do you got another question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this. Do you know what's happening in Bangladesh? Like proper in depth or?
Yeah. I was just gonna say that the army taking over as a replacement government is never a good idea. It has happened. We have done this for 1400 years, and it hasn't worked out even a single time. And it's a terrible idea.
What? The
And
army taking over?
yeah,
Okay.
the Bengali people, they overthrew Sheikh Hasina, and honestly, that was the easy part. And now they gotta work out what's gonna replace her, and that's gonna be the more difficult part. And it's situations like these that get you in the. If you want to look at that, you can just look at Pakistan. To be honest, you just look at Pakistan as a perfect example right there, with what happens with the military governments and all that. So it's right there. You could just take a look. I see something very similar happening to Bangladesh under a military government. Um, so yeah, it's things are not going to get better if the military is in charge.
Yeah, I can't really comment that much. The only thing I would say is that I think this is a big if. If the military does it for a short term, I think it can definitely have positive effects. If the military just comes in as like almost a reset button to go, okay, you guys hurry up, you've got 2 3 months, come up with a civilian government, and then we're going to give you the power. That is beautiful. That is fantastic. You should be so proud of your army if it is capable of doing that. That's not negative. That's incredible. I would feel so secure, and I would feel so privileged if I had an institution like that in my country that was capable of doing things like that.
Yeah, but no one wants to give up power. If the military takes power, it's very, very unlikely. This would have to be like, some very, very good people would have to be in charge for that to happen. And nobody wants to give up power. It's like the scene from The Office where Dwight talks to Michael and he's like, "Give me the power to fire anybody. I promise I'll return it to you when things are normal." But no one returns power.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on.
So, any other question you want to take?
Espero por un moment. Let me see.
Dude, also people love my cat. You are just a hater. This
It's
person
just
said
the
negative aura points for not liking cats.
no. It's
Who
just
doesn't
the
like cats?
it's just the concept, like the cat being matlabi. Like it only comes to you when it needs something. That's mad.
Uh-huh.
Force it to pay rent. I'm being that serious.
Dude, he doesn't have a job. He doesn't need a job.
Yeah, but that's crazy, bro. You got some
He
Stockholm
pays
syndrome.
for it. He pays for it with his cuteness.
That's terrible. That's a
He's
terrible.
like right now he's looking at me with his like tiny little eyes and he's trying to
Oh my
climb up.
God, you make me sick, Syawish. Honest to God.
You're one of those people who's like, "Oh, you shouldn't get a pet because it doesn't produce milk."
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this recently. You know what kind of pets I can imagine myself having? People in the chat are going to be mortified by this, but screw it. Why not? There's a lot of weird stuff going on in the world. I might as well contribute. The pets that I feel like I could have are only those ones that I can eat, which doesn't mean I'm going to eat them, but that is my metric basically. So a rabbit, I would happily have a rabbit as a pet. A chicken, I would happily have that. A goat, a sheep, a cow, I would love to have those as pets. But a cat, I can't eat a cat. I don't eat cats. So why would I? You
Dude,
know what I mean?
if you're going hungry, the cat will bring you rats.
The cat, what? Sorry?
The cat will kill and bring rats to you. Cats often do that.
But I don't eat rats. Syawish.
Well, you're gonna just have to do that. It's like, if let's say you're living in a post-apocalyptic world, everything has gone to crap, and you need to feed yourself, the cat will help you.
Yeah, but when we get to a post-apocalyptic world, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But up until now, we're not there, so I'm not gonna eat rats. Okay, I'm okay with that. Well, okay. Oh, can we talk about one thing, just like briefly? Okay, AJ.
Hmm.
No, no, no. Where was it? It was about Shias.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
about
Igor.
Shias and
Damn, the I feel like the chat is going off today in comparison to other days. Where was it?
there was something about Shias, why Shias are more religiously. Um,
Where are they? Oh, Igor SM. Why Shia states are much more engaged in Islam in a realistic way, defending
mhm.
Palestine. Okay, first, Igor, with all due respect, I don't know. Um, I'm not even gonna engage your question directly. I'm just gonna engage it in what I assume you mean, which is why are Shia states engaging in Islam in a realistic way? That doesn't even make sense. But the whole Palestine thing, I was thinking about this recently. Shia, well, there's only one Shia state, but Iran is doing some crazy stuff in the Middle East in regards to defending the rights of Palestine. And I feel like it's putting a lot of the Sunni countries to absolute shame. Sunni Arab countries to absolute shame in comparison to what they are able to achieve. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that Iran is talking a big game and all that. Plus, Iran is like in its hostility to the Sunni states. It's doing all. It's kind of like Turkey. Turkey would be like, oh, Erdogan is like, oh, it's Israelis. I will destroy them. Will do that, but they're doing business with Israel. So I think Iran is kind of doing the same thing. It's talking a big game, but it's not actually.
There are
Uh,
achievements, though. What are you talking about, Syawish?
what have they done?
It's not just talk. There are actual achievements, and if we
What achievements?
okay, now everybody calm down. Of course, any human life lost is a terrible tragedy. But if we just sit here and we talk in military matters, right? In October, Hamas, what it was able
Mhm.
to do, right? Incur the kind of uh,
Dude.
losses and damages. See, I wish it's kind of difficult to talk about a serious
Yeah,
thing
I'm
when you're
sorry. Yeah, you continue that. My cat is.
just kick the cat and tell it to piss off, man.
Dude, I can't do that. He owns the place. He's the boss here. But continue. I'm listening.
Okay. Hamas in October penetrating Israel's defenses, the kind of losses, the kind of damage that was incurred onto it. And a lot of that has obviously been done with Iranian funding and support. Hezbollah, the last 30 years, has honestly, it's just been handing out ass whoopings to Israel like it's a flipping hobby. 2000, 2006, all the hostage exchanges and everything. Um, it's been doing things to Israel that people didn't even think were possible. Like, what the hell? Who else is doing that?
I I mean, it's
No,
I
don't
don't
be
know. To
negative.
be honest, I just feel like it's just show and stuff. I don't think that they're actually like doing anything real. Funding is one thing, um, but
You know what kind of
that's also
military arsenal? You know what kind of military arsenal Hezbollah has?
no.
You know they apparently have up to 100,000 soldiers We have no exact idea how much
Really?
that is. 100, yeah, up to 100,000 can mean literally 1 to 100,000. But there are some people in the West that are genuinely worried it has more manpower than the Lebanese armed forces. Number one. Number two, I feel terrible for bringing this up and not having the exact numbers, but its missile capability is specifically is pretty crazy. A, in terms of the actual amount that they have, and B, I've heard, again, I'm not a military expert, but they've got pretty like updated rockets as well, missiles as well. So I don't think there is. I think it's a lot more serious than you initially thought.
Maybe it's possible that I was wrong then.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. All right, there are a lot of common. I'm a big believer in Muslim Latin American food diplomacy. I'd love to know more about that. I don't even know what that means. Are we not more religious in the, okay, I don't know what that means. Could the Tanzimat reforms actually be successful? It's also called, consumerism is a distraction from religion. Absolutely. I'm embarrassed that I missed that point. Great point.
Yeah,
Excellent point.
it's true.
Do you think that far-right parties will take over the political arena in the future in Europe, given the center and left parties are not able to keep their countries safe, UK and France, for example? I'm not mad at that. I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm not mad at that. I would not be surprised, definitely not shocked, and I would not be surprised if that happens.
Why are you such a conservative?
I just told you I wouldn't want that to happen. What are you talking about? It's about common sense. It's about just seeing reality for what it is, the direction society is going in. I hope it doesn't happen. I clearly am stating that. But based off current developments, and if I just make a value judgment of all the different things that are happening and what could potentially happen, that sounds like a very reasonable outcome to take place, even though I would like it not to happen. Do you want me to flip and write that in writing?
I mean, to be honest, already things are happening. Like Germany's government is starting to, like, polls and stuff are leaning right. Italy is already pretty right leaning. France barely survived, like barely escaped a far right government. So there's just, I think that that's gonna happen though, fortunately.
Yeah, and it's as a result of the incompetence of centrist politics, I suppose.
Yeah.
The incompetence of centric.
Centrists are the worst.
Yeah, it's just indecisive people. Be decisive.
I mean, I like as much as I hate your ideology, I at least like that you have one. But
You read my mind. I was just
always
going to say that, by the way, about you. Nice.
wow.
Exactly. Yeah. No. It's true.
Yeah.
Go on. Any others?
This is kind of a similar question to the one that we answered before, but do modernity and secularism go hand in hand?
The Western model, yes, but not inherently, no. No, not necessarily. Why? I think I'm not condoning eating cats, but nobody's stopping you from eating a cat. That's hilarious mythology with Mike. I love that. But no, I'm not going to eat a cat.
To be honest, sometimes I kind of want to bite my cat's tail.
But that's because you find it cute and you're weird, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's, I don't know. Even if he was dead, I wouldn't eat him.
Yeah. Wait. What did you say before that? Modernity and thingamajig.
Yeah, there was a question about maternity, and it was by Moz. Yeah, this one. Modernity and secularism go hand in hand.
This guy's asking the $1 million questions. Do you think
Did you just use an Indian accent?
I did. $1 million. Do you guys think?
What are you talking about?
Kya baat hai? Do you guys think we would have to become somewhat secular as to? No, hell no. Hell no. And please get that thought out of your head expeditiously. Don't be silly. That is a dumb, arrogant. Um, it's just arrogant. It's just arrogant, and it's very West. I don't want to use a
Western
rude word.
centric, yeah, Western centric.
Western centric is the
Mm,
polite way of me saying it. There's another
mm.
term which we're not going to use, beginning with C. Western centric model to have, and that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I do think
Absolutely.
that because in the West there's sort of this idea that modernity and religion cannot stay together, and that idea has been exported. Sorry, I'm accidentally. Because that idea has been exported to most of the world. We
Yeah.
see people like Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, who thought that to become modern you have to become secular, and he went too far in that, and now we're sort of
And for the
the
record,
pendulum is coming back.
exactly, the pendulum's coming back. I like how you put that. I've said this before somewhere else. I think it was with Ibrahim from Elam Films. I used to be a big fan of Ataturk, but over time that changed, and now I'm like the complete opposite. But I fully understand why he thought that. At that time period in the 1920s, Europe has just like an unfettered, unlimited domination of the world. So if you are not part of the European, if you're not part of Christendom, and you are being exploited, you are being dominated, colonized, all of those things, and you just look around and you see these lot achieving what the hell they're achieving.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's not ideal. I would have liked it if he had still figured it out, but you can't blame him too much for making that judgment of, oh, we want to be strong like Europe, so that means we have to behave, we have to dress, we have to think, we have to act like them too. Well, obviously, he was wrong, but no, you do not need to secularize in order. In fact, I think that was one of the reasons that the West is quote unquote declining now is because of this, which was this is so beautiful how life works. This was put into place, say, all the way back like in the Enlightenment days before industrialization, when they started engaging with this, because the secularization of the West happened over a course of at least 150, 170, 200 years. Um, that first step determined it to be in the stage that it's at right now, in decline. If you are in a society, you need to have, I believe you do need to have, yeah, you do need to have, to be honest. Life is too complicated. You need to have some sort of religious presence. Then that has to be taken seriously. Don't do it in, oh, we'll give freedom of religion. Anybody can practice any religion that they want. At the same time, we won't have blasphemy laws and people can take the piss out of religion. That's not what I'm talking about. Religion has to have a real presence in a society. Don't force people. It's not a theocracy. Don't force people, grab them by the back of the neck, go Jummah prayers, go Sunday mass. But religion has to have a real presence in society, especially now with the ridiculous developments taking place in technology, things happening with AI that are enough to make anybody question their faith in a higher power. Um, you need religion now more so than ever. You always need religion. Don't kick religion out of society. This is not coming from a person who's ready to go into a madrasa and become a flipping mullah for the rest of his life. Trust me, I'm not that person. But you need to have religion in society. Don't. It's like the guardrails. You know, life is a very very difficult endeavor. Yeah, it's not easy for anybody. You're making millions of pounds. 57 different problems are going to require your attention on a daily basis. You've got everything figured out. Life is just difficult for everybody. For everybody. Okay? There are loads of inherent dangers. You need guardrails that kind of just, that just place you, this is my place in the world. This is where I'm going. This is where I came from. Okay, all these other problems that are coming, at least I don't have this existential angst of what am I even doing? What's the point of life? Blah, blah, blah. All of these other questions that are slowly but surely, like a tiny little stone at the bottom of your shoe, gonna wear you down. Don't do that. So, do Muslim countries have to become? Hell no. Get rid of that idea. Just, just get rid of that idea. Okay, I'm done.
I mean, I'm not sure that religion needs to be in government, but I do think that religion is important for personal life. And I think that people who go away from religion, um, not everybody, but a lot of our modern problems are because of a lack of religious framework.
You put it
Um,
beautifully. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't think religion needs to be in government. The only thing I would say, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I am like 70% sure about this. I do think there needs to be blasphemy laws. I don't think it's okay for people to just any religion, not just Islam, any religion. I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's avant-garde. I don't think it's smart to just be able to make fun of religion for shits and giggles. If you want to do it in a smart way, um, maybe like Life of Brian type stuff. Have you ever watched that movie? If you want to do it like in a super smart way, okay. But this idea of just coming out and just taking the piss out of religion because you can, I think that's
I
really dangerous,
I
and I don't
do
want that.
I don't agree with that. I think that because I mean, I don't agree with everybody who uses free speech. You know, they're like openly being barbaric because they can. But I also think that limiting free speech is a very slippery slope. If you, for example, say that you cannot say anything, you know, you cannot blaspheme against a religious figure, then somebody is going to have to define what blasphemy is. And there was recently an example of that stature in Pakistan, where you know there are these people who call themselves Sayyids, who claim to be descendants of the Prophet.
Right.
And there was this idea that because they're Sayyids, they're descendants of the Prophet, you cannot insult them. And there were people in politics who were Sayyids, and they were like, "Oh, you cannot really insult us. You cannot question us at all." And like that's an extreme example, but I think that that's a price that you have to pay when you limit free speech. It's always a slippery slope. Blasphemy, it leads to all kinds of easy problems that could have been avoided. So I'm not a big fan of free speech, but I do think that limiting it is a very, very slippery slope.
I agree, and it has to be done in a very nuanced, sophisticated way.
I
But,
don't.
but, dude, you can't blaspheme. Honestly, it sounds like I'm a lot surer about this than 70%. It's not good. We have to
Yeah,
figure
but
out how exactly it's going to look, and it's not going to be easy. And I don't have the answer for it now. I just know you can't blaspheme. Don't do
yeah,
it. Why?
you're
Why?
right. You're right. You're right. But the thing is that there's no nuance and sophistication. People in government, they're not really known for nuance and sophistication. And also, it comes to the definition of what exactly is blasphemy or what
No, that's
exactly
not
is
that
hate
difficult.
speech.
No, no, that's not that difficult.
It
What
is
exactly?
difficult. It's very difficult.
What?
This one time, I said in a video
Right.
that I said in a video that nobody could live up to the myth of Harun al-Rashid, not even
Right.
the real Harun. And
Okay.
multiple people thought that I was talking about Prophet Harun alayhi salam, and I was
Okay.
not.
Okay.
Similarly, in my video, Did Muhammad Exist? I talked about, I was assuming for the sake of the video that, we don't believe in religion. We have to look at this from a historical source just for the sake of the video. And a lot of people took it the wrong way. A lot of people take my homosexuality video the long way. I mean, I clearly said in the video that as far as I know, homosexuality is haram in Islam. And we were
Yeah.
like, whoa, you're spreading propaganda and all that. It's
No, but
just
they're
people
no,
are
no, no,
stupid.
no. Syawish, you're conflating things. You're just because a person gets annoyed, that doesn't mean it's blasphemy. And I understand we're talking about a fairly not a super subjective thing. We're talking about something fairly subjective, but you can still come down and make a decision and go, oh, this person is right to feel this way. The two examples you gave me, whoever felt that was blasphemy, they're idiot. They're silly. So just ignore them.
You're right. You're right. But what if somebody in government is that kind of stupid and silly?
But you have something in place. You have a supreme council. You have something in place. You have something in place. It's not an insurmountable task. It's not.
It is. It is.
No, 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 no,
It,
no,
it,
no, no,
it
no.
is.
I wish
It
don't say
really is.
it's not. It's not. You just make sure. Okay, so do this. Do this. You have a council. You have a certain body in government. Okay, and all you got to do is safeguard their development. All you got to do is safeguard the recruitment process to that council. Make sure that the people monitor the schools that they go to, monitor the kind of discussions that are had in that school. If it's like an Al
Dude,
Azhar type,
you're talking about an idealistic government. And yeah, if everything was idealistic, things would happen right. But this is not gonna happen. Nobody's gonna monitor all the schools in a
no,
country.
but it's
Nobody's
something
gonna
very, very important. The
I
more
mean, look
important
at
something is in life, Syawish, the more energy and effort you
even
give to it.
even countries like the US,
Yeah,
Germany and all these countries that have all these data collection infrastructure and all these monitoring things, they cannot even do that. They cannot keep
that's because they're
particular
not
types of
interested. They're not interested.
people.
If you're interested and you make it a priority, this is the whole point. Okay, there
That's
is
the
a motivational goal behind this live stream, which is you make something a priority, it will come to fruition. My
who's
G.
gonna make it a priority if you have a hand of
Government.
God kind of situation where you design a system. Let's say you and me, one of us is designing a
I
system,
would
sure,
design a
but
great system, by the way. I, I,
sure,
I would design a tremendous system.
sure you would, but then there will be the human element. They
What is
will come in, humans will come in, and they will all have their own agendas. So you cannot really keep things in the same way. So that's the problem with free speech. It's very, very difficult to control, very, very difficult, and very, very easy to abuse. Both free speech and limitations of free speech. But I think that free speech is beneficial than limitations. I think that it's more important. So this is a blasphemy and all these things,
Yeah, but
hate
again,
speech
I'm going to be
included.
honest with you, Syawish. I think, with all due respect, Bicep, that's a little bit of a cop out, okay? Because what you're saying is have one of the two extremes, okay? And that everything in the middle is just too difficult to moderate. It's
Exactly.
difficult. It is very difficult. It is ridiculously difficult. It is not too difficult because it's important. Anytime something is important, it doesn't matter how difficult it is. There's loads of things that, dude. Do you know how many difficulties I had starting Hikmah history? Do you know how many difficulties I had? But in my head, the goal of making his Hikmah history work was so important to me that it doesn't matter whatever those difficulties I came across. And I don't want to sit here and make it seem like people should feel sorry for me. We could go back in time and you can 10x the difficulties I had. I would have still done it because I told myself there is no other choice. Okay. When something is important, you get it done. That's it. You don't just sit there and go, oh no, it's too
No,
difficult.
no.
Let's just choose
You
the easy option. Nah, man.
when you have to do something
Yeah.
yourself, you have a motivation, you have the
Mhm.
willpower, you can do it. But then when you involve hundreds of thousands of people in the government, things
Yeah.
are not going to go your way. Even Genghis Khan could not control the bureaucracy of his country, of his empire. He
No,
had
no.
difficulty
It's gonna
controlling.
make it a lot more difficult for things to go your way, but don't say it's not gonna go your way. What are you talking about, Syawish? It's not gonna go your way.
It's 100,000
Accepted defeat.
people.
Make it 1 million people. Who cares?
Okay, I'm just going to move on from this because you're stupid.
Bruh, you give up too easy, man. What the hell? Not that
Well,
easy.
no,
What's wrong with you?
it's a fundamental thing that you're not gonna understand.
I'm not gonna understand. Don't make it out like I'm flipping autistic. No, no.
I'm just being condescending, I guess. I'm joking.
Disrespectful, rude. Yeah, yeah, all of those things. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. All of those
Um,
words. Somebody asked
okay.
about South Indian Muslims, and I have a lot of good things to say about South Indian Muslims.
By the way, is it me or is the quality of the questions this time a lot better with all due
Yeah,
respect to the previous ones? We're getting some.
yeah, yeah. We're getting some really good questions. I mean, usually it's like, who's your favorite general? What if this empire hadn't
Yeah,
existed? Well, yeah, we got a what's it called, super chat or something?
yeah.
You
By
should
the way,
show this hot take the Abbasids.
we're gonna split this money because I know she's paying for my charisma and my presence here. So you better send me that money.
Consider it done.
No, don't make me out like I'm a beggar. You're supposed to, it was just like a joke. You're
No,
supposed to like
it's first of all it's 50-50, and then there's a 30% vig,
what's a big
which is the house tax cut.
oh okay. Fair.
Yeah, it's like plus there's like transferring fees, all of that. It's you're gonna get like 5% of the whole thing, so it's like not even worth
It's
it to be
worth it. The
honest.
principle, that's what counts. Go on,
Wow.
you answer it first.
Well, the Abbasids being the best Muslim empire. I'm not. I mean, I made a list of a list of empires, and they were the second greatest empire in that video. They were definitely great. They also stuck around for a long time, but I would always put the label of the greatest Abbasid Muslim empire on the Ottomans, simply because of the amount of bureaucracy and the record keeping and all these amazing things that they did. Um, it's to be honest, there was a time when I started my channel, I considered just making the channel about the Ottomans. I wanted to highlight like little aspects of their history because of how detailed everything was. It's like pretty much the only empire in the Islamic world that is so detailedly um, preserved. So that's why I personally, even this is a subjective thing. So I think the Ottomans are the greatest Muslim empire.
I would fully agree. I think the Ottomans are second as well. I like the Abbasids though. Yeah. I
Oh,
hope
okay, this
that
is a question.
that answer.
Have you have you heard the theory that the origin of the Romani people fleeing to the west because of the invasions of Mahmud of Ghazni?
Oh wow, I haven't heard that, but I swear that lines up chronologically. No, it was around that
Does it?
time.
Because I think the Romani initially lived in Egypt, didn't they?
No. Initially, they were in India. What are you talking about? Not
No,
Egypt.
but before that, like they went to but
Wait,
from India they
they
went.
moved from Egypt to India and then India to Europe. These lot are the greatest travelers of all time. What the?
Really?
Nah, they came from India.
Um, I didn't know that. Well, I know they came from India, but I thought that they went from India to Egypt and from there to Europe.
No, I've never heard of Egypt in that regard, or no, as the starting point. But
I don't know if um I don't know if like we could say that okay, according to Wikipedia, gypsies were present um in Baghdad in 820, and they were even present in Persia during the Sasani period. That's
okay,
more
but like,
close to what I thought.
what does present mean? Present like small numbers or big numbers? Because
Yeah,
the thing I'm talking about is that big migration they made, where they now basically consider places like Romania as their like home
I mean,
for the time.
I think that Mahmud's invasions would more likely push people east than west.
How are you going east? There's the Himalayas, my G. Where you go? How are you gonna go east? Where east?
You're gonna go like east towards,
Bengal?
east Bengal, not the
Maybe,
other direction. I mean, that's the direction that the enemy is coming from, right? You don't want to go towards Mahmud of Ghazni's empire. You want to go in the other direction.
maybe. All I know is that the timeline kind of adds up because it was around 1,000 years ago that they started their Great Migration. And on this topic, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Odd Compass, Tarun from
Yeah.
Odd Compass. He
Oh
did
yeah,
a
amazing channel.
phenomenal video. It's called "Forgotten History: The Romani Gypsy Migration from India to Europe." That dude deserves the YouTube version of Oscars for his videos. So go
Oh
check
yeah,
it out.
amazing channel.
You know what? I'm gonna put it in the chat right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a. Do you see any question you want? Sorry, I'm just gonna mute the video for a second.
Okay. Are you gonna do something weird with your cat or something? All right. Let's see, people. Hello. How we doing? Uh.
Do you see any question that you want to take?
I'm scrolling up because I don't want to miss any good questions. It's bad when Germany's going right wing. Okay, mythology with Mike is quite funny.
He's a really good guy. He's a really interesting guy as well.
I feel like he's got a YouTube channel, doesn't he? I feel that rings a bell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, you don't know his channel? It's a really good one.
I feel like I've come across it. That's why it rings a bell. Okay.
This is something that I didn't know about. First of all, shout out to this guy for the channel name. I really love that. But also, this is something that I didn't know about, that Al-Nasir's claim to caliphate was the first ever emotional shock to the Islamic Caliphate. That would be an interesting idea. I don't know if I agree with this, but this is quite interesting.
When was that?
Abdurrahman III, 929. He claimed the Caliphate in 929.
No, that sounds way too late.
No, that is when Abdurrahman III claimed the Caliphate, which is interesting. But at the time, the Fatimids already existed.
This is what I'm saying. It sounds way too late to be considered the first ever emotional shock.
Yeah.
The Fatimids existed
909.
And then obviously, like everything that happened with the first fitna, that obviously must have been something. And then the transition from Umayyad to Abbasid, I get it. They had very legitimate grounds genealogically, the Abbasids did. But even then, that must have been a massive shock.
I don't know what Al-Madudi was thinking, but there's like a lot of things that have happened. Like, for example, the rise of the second fitna, the rise of Abdul Malik as compared to Abdullah ibn Zubair was a big thing. Oh, by the way, I actually wanted to. This is a book that I'm reading these days.
Yeah.
It's about the earliest writings on the life of the Prophet. This the Urwa corpus. I've been meaning to. I've actually like 3 videos about the earliest sources of the Prophet's life, but it's been too hot recently, and I cannot record without a fan, and without a fan, it's just too noisy. With a fan, it's just too noisy, so I haven't been able to make a video, but there's like 3 videos coming up on the historical Muhammad series. So yeah, watch out for those.
Okay, that sounds interesting. By the way, Sayyid Abulala Maududi is the 20th century Pakistani Jamiat
Indian, yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a very uneducated statement for him to make, to be honest, but fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was much better than this. Difference between free and hate speech.
Hikmah right? What's Hikmah right?
I don't know. I think he's asking you.
Okay. What do you mean the difference? Oh, all right. Let's get the official definitions.
It's a more subjective thing than that, to be honest.
Hate speech is any form of expression through which speakers intend to vilify, humiliate, and incite hatred. What the flip is going on? Free speech is the right to articulate opinions and ideas without interference. Okay.
There's a video by Vox, which talks about the problem of hate speech on Twitter, and they have a lot of very good examples on that. To say, I mean, I don't know if YouTube is going to mind this, but to say that the world is not going to get better until the dominance of Europeans is broken, let's say, that's not exactly hate speech. That's an example. That's just an example. Right. But to say the same thing about Jews, that's hate speech. That's definitely hate speech. So it's very subjective, but that's my point, that you cannot actually filter out hate speech in some sort of a constitutional or some sort of a net way. You know, you cannot create a net that is designed to catch all hate speech. There's always the human element to the whole equation. There are always going to be people coming in and deciding.
Fair enough. To be honest, that point that I was making earlier, it just pertains to religion. It's just religion. So that makes me sound like a bit of a villain, because I'm saying any other form of, hate speech that people can say, if it's about ethnic groups or whatever. I'm
Let me
not
give
a
you an
big
example.
fan of. Go on.
Let me give you an example.
Give me an
Let's say you
example.
live in India, right?
Okay.
And let's say that in India, there's a blasphemy law that you cannot insult any religion.
Okay.
And you have Muslims there, you have Hindus there. A fundamental
Right.
part of Islam is against idolatry, against having these gods, right?
Nice.
And so if a Muslim says that worshipping idols is sin, is bad, is he blaspheming against Hindus? And if so, what about his religious rights?
He is not blaspheming against Hindus. I think in that point, where you draw the line is what action do you take? Because for you to come to a Muslim, as you correctly stated, idolatry is a big no-no in Islam. Um, for him just to believe that, for him just to say that, that's way too harsh. That's way too harsh. And believe it or not,
That's
I'm
what
not.
blasphemy. That's what blasphemy is. It's all about saying things. It's not necessarily about actions.
Yeah, but okay. One second. All right. So the vitriol with which I speak makes it seem like Tariq is a very, very big fan of draconian, black and white laws. That is not the way that my brain works. That is not the way that I want to be perceived at all. I understand human beings are very, very complicated creatures individually. When two human beings interact with each other, that complication minimum doubles. And then when you're talking about a country with 1 billion people, we're talking about incredible degrees of complications. Okay. So you do need to have some sort of like a dynamic approach to these things. Okay. Whereas, because your point about blasphemy laws is all about what you say, blah, blah, blah. Correct. Good point. However, if you know you live in a country where 800 million out of the 1.3, 1.4 billion are Hindus and 150, maybe 200 are million are Muslims, you need to have slightly more dynamic. And this example you gave is absolutely perfect, by the way, because in Islam, idolatry, big no. In Hinduism, idolatry, big yes. Okay. So your approach needs to be dynamic. Make sure you make it on the physical manifestation of your beliefs. If a Muslim goes around and destroys a Hindu statue, come down on that guy with the full force, the full weight of the law. But for him to just say it, and then even the way he says it, like, is it just in the khutbah of Friday prayers, or are you making a big deal out of it where you make it a lecture that is solely on that, and you're inviting loads of people, and the overall sentiment is getting a little bit aggressive, a little bit militant? Stamp down on that. But if it's just in the khutbah and you're just reiterating something that is a core tenet of Islam, I don't think there's any problem with that.
See, that's where the problem is. There could be people, if you keep saying that idolatry is bad, eventually maybe somebody in the someone who is in the audience thinks that, oh, this is, we got to do something about this,
Fair
and
enough,
so
but you're
that's
also
what I'm
supposed
saying.
to emphasize the other side too. You're also supposed to emphasize
Yeah,
that you are
ideally all this works. Empathy, you need to have that. You need to have a very good counsel, exactly. But in practice, you're not gonna be able to create a council. Like look at India, if nothing else. You can, well, not India actually. The Supreme Court in India is pretty good at the moment. But look at any country. You like the U.S. The Supreme Court has been it's been made into a political issue where political appointments are creating are filling the Supreme Court with right-leaning people, and the same is going to happen. You have a Supreme Council. I mean, the same thing was true with in Europe with Pope or Caesar kind of debate. Who is bigger, the Pope or the Caesar? If the Pope technically appoints the Caesar, the king, is he bigger? Or if the king is the military arm of the Pope, is he bigger? So like that's the same thing. Who appoints the council, and is the council able to act independently or not because of these appointments? There's a lot of things that are gonna come into this kind of a situation, and I really don't think that in practice this is
I don't think it'll
doable.
be anywhere nearly as difficult as you're making it out to be in practice. The US is a terrible example considering what their society is going through. In a place where something like the Me Too movement could have metamorphosized, in a place which is just making Karen energy just.
Sorry, you have a problem with the Me Too movement?
What do you mean? Do I have a problem with it? It's a flipping witch hunt.
Dude, do you have any opinions that are not the worst?
What are you talking about? It's a witch hunt.
Even in regards to the
no. Listen, Syawish, you're over here talking to me for the last hour and a half about nuance, about sophistication, and all of that. Yeah. So let's talk about that. People that take advantage, Harvey Weinstein, like take advantage of their position to take advantage of other people because of whatever position they have in society. Terrible people. In that sense, Me Too, great. Good job, Me Too. Double thumbs up. Yeah? But when you turn it into a witch hunt where a person's livelihood is destroyed by an allegation that has zero weight, that is the definition of a society that is failing itself. That is a definition of a society running on 30 IQ points. What are you doing? What, somebody just makes an allegation where they have no evidence, no proof, and your life is low-key not destroyed, but largely ruined? That's preposterous. Like the whole country should just stop and go, oh my God, this system is not working. If you make an allegation and you come forward with evidence, and even if it's just a little bit tenuous evidence, fair point. And if the person is guilty, excellent point, not fair point, great job, well done. Thank you for being a trailblazer in this society. But when you have no evidence and you just did it for shits and giggles, you just did it for whatever reason you did it, and it messes up the person's life. That person, I can't even, wait 1 second, I'm going to read that in a sec. That person finds it difficult to find a job. Their livelihood is compromised. You are a terrible human being. And then nothing bad happens to you. I make the allegation with no evidence, messes up your life, and nothing happens to me. If you don't think that is the definition, if you don't think that is the definition of a system that is failing, God help you. God help you. What the hell? We're just gonna ruin people's lives for shits and giggles?
Name one woman who, during the Me Too movement, accused someone wrongly.
That's not. Oh my God, Syawish, that is not fair. That's not fair, dude.
See, that's the thing, because most of those cases, and the cases that were taken serious.
We'll do this. After, because I don't have a name right now. Okay. After this, I will do a cheeky 10-minute search on Google. Okay, and I will send you, okay, a list of the examples, and you will post it on your YouTube community.
I will. I definitely will. Okay, I definitely will. But here's the thing is that most of, like, for example, with Harvey Weinstein, right? Harvey Weinstein
women would choose bear instead of hikmah after this. I don't know what that means.
Well, there was this sort of a meme that where women were saying that instead of being alone in the woods with a man, they would much rather be comfortable with women.
But you understand that shows the retardedness of that statement, because do you understand what would happen with a bear, right? It's not cute. It's not teddy bear. It's not Winnie the Pooh.
Neither men, to be honest. Neither men, to be honest.
No, they're not. But I think there's different levels of which one is more dangerous. Men don't do that.
Yeah, if you got attacked by a bear, at least people would believe you.
If you're an absolutely idiot of a woman, right, and you find it very difficult to be able to differentiate a good man from a bad man, first of all, I don't feel any guilt for that because it's your stupidity. That's
okay. Let's move on.
No.
Let's move on. You're going in a very bad direction.
Espero, hermano, espero por un momento, por favor. Listen, okay? Now, obviously, there are loads of competent women that get bamboozled, that get tricked and manipulated, that favorite word, gaslit, whatever the hell, by men that pretend to be good but then end up being bad. Fair enough. For those lot, I got bare sympathy for you. And those men, I think, should be punished very, very harshly. As harshly as the Me Too movement produced, by the way, okay? But don't do that. Don't do, oh, men are dangerous. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Men are dangerous. Men protect. What are you talking about? Men are dangerous. I'm dangerous?
Okay.
I'm bad? Because this is the thing I don't understand about that whole time period. And I feel like it's still on the internet. It comes across as being a little, bit. Why are so many people, whether it's men, whether it's white people that are being villainized, why are you so accepting of being called the bad guy? I get annoyed when somebody calls me the bad guy. I'm not a bad guy. Yeah, I'm a man. The audacity to make it out like you'd be safer with a bear
Dude,
than with
you called my
Get
cat
out
a
of here,
bad
bro.
guy as well.
Get out of
Okay?
here.
This is like
Get out
look at this face. Do you
What
think
about
that this face can do any evil? Did you just poop because you smell? Get out
There
of
you
here.
go. There you go. You didn't even finish your statement. It did something evil.
You know, he didn't poop on me, he just came back from pooping.
He pooped in your room,
He
bro.
smells. No, not in my room. He uses the litter box. He's civilized.
All right. Anyway, women would be safer with bears. What
Okay, yeah,
kind of
this
dumb thing
what
is
was
that to say?
Pre-Islamic Pakistan and Afghanistan like? Because yeah, Zunism. I've heard of that in Crusader Kings, but I actually don't know if it's a real religion.
Isn't that where they worship the sun in Afghanistan, eastern Afghanistan? Or not? The Zunbils, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Those
they
are-
had a big temple in Multan, right?
I don't know about Multan. I don't know if their territory went as far as Multan. It was more like Kandahar, Uruzgun, Paktika. I guess a little bit of like Waziristan, Quetta, Balochistan as well. Right? Let me see.
There was the Kingdom of Sindh. I actually don't know about that, but yeah, pre-Islamic Pakistan. It sounds like a very interesting place. There's not a lot of sources about it, unfortunately. I tried to make a video about Muhammad bin Qasim's conquest, and I wanted to talk about like start from the very at least like establish the world that existed at that point. But unfortunately, I couldn't find a lot of sources. The Chachnama has some stuff, but it's not a lot. But it sounds like a very interesting place. There were at the time Buddhism was already in decline in Sindh, and there's I think there's this Chinese or Tibetan Buddhist monk who came to Sindh a little bit before Pakistan, before Sindh was conquered by the Muslims. And there's a lot in that that's interesting, but I haven't really, to be honest, looked into it very much. I would love to do that someday. And actually, I'm just gonna make a note of that so that I can somehow someday get back to the topic. I still have topics from 2018 that are written in my notebook that I haven't gotten to. So yeah, it might take a while.
I don't know so much about pre-Islamic Pakistan, but I definitely am planning to make videos on pre-Islamic Afghanistan. You know, that's partly, my PhD. Did I ever tell you about it, Syawish? It was fascinating.
Wasn't it about Afghan weaponry in the like 1700s?
What are you talking about?
I thought that's what your PhD was about. What was your PhD about?
It was fascinating. So I took ancient and modern and I mixed them together. It was the way that nationalist historiography in 20th century Afghanistan used their pre-Islamic heritage or interpreted their pre-Islamic heritage
In Afghanistan.
in Afghanistan. So it's 20th century historians that are clearly nationalists, and it's talking about their conclusions, their judgments on their pre-Islamic heritage. Fascinating.
Interesting.
Okay. History of revolutions typically has very, very good comments on my videos, but
Yeah.
he said Iran will become Sunni again, inshallah, so that Muslim unity. My brother,
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. In fact, we can make, I know bets are haram and whatnot, but we can make a bet on that, a very big one. It's not happening. Um, Anything else?
There was a question here that I really liked. Um, oh
Religion
yeah,
is the only thing that beats tribalism or ethnic supremacism, even in tough times. I'm not 100% in love with that statement, but I don't hate that statement. That is a statement worthy of further thought. That's a solid statement. I think that was one of the original motivations behind Islam even coming about.
oh yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. To be honest, I am very interested in the history of early Islam, and I want to pivot the channel to pretty much making videos about that. But there's just people are gonna take it the wrong way. Like there are all these
Who
ideas,
cares, man? Who cares?
revisionists. Like there's people who I mean these are just amazing ideas. But there's like ideas. What is this? Oh yeah. There's ideas like the Quran was not canonized under the third caliph, rather it was canonized under Abdul Malik, and all these very incredible ideas that need to be talked about more, but people just are not doing that.
Yeah. I feel like we're running out of questions. Or am I?
There was one by Salon, the law of oligarchy. Well, you know me on this. I don't believe that democracies exist or can exist. I do believe that oligarchy is always the way. It's just what usually happens. Um, even in the very best of democracy, it's maybe 10% of the people who have any level of real power. Um, the rest are just cannon fodder. NPCs, I believe, is the term that people are using these days.
I think that's a little too cynical, man. I mean, obviously, I do believe that it's like a general formula in life. I think even like the 80-20, whatever, the Pareto principle, all of those
Mhm.
kind of things, a little bit is gonna have an overrepresented effect on the majority. Um, but to just kind of sit there and make it out like every governmental system is based on an oligarchy, that's not exactly fair.
That
I've
is
got
true.
plenty. I don't think so, man. Not
Okay.
necessarily. Loads of things
Uh,
that loads of checks and balances that prevent that from happening. What about popular will? I'm not saying popular will, the way that modern democracy makes it out, like has determines everything that a government will do, but popular will is a big like factor, that you have to take into account. Um, what about the bureaucracy? Okay, the true decision makers are a tiny minority, but in order for a government system to run, it needs to have hundreds of thousands of little bureaucrats and administrators and civil servants that all come together and create and cooperate together to make a system run. Yeah, the big decision makers are going to be a tiny few, but even then they will be held to a certain standard through cultural standards or constitution, legal framework, all of these different things. I think at certain points it becomes much more oligarchic than at other points. Like I was reading somewhere randomly that in Canada, there's only a couple of big companies that basically control. Was it a couple of big companies or a couple of big supermarkets that control all grocery shopping? I guess you can say. Um, but not everything has to be like that all the time, man. And not every country is like that. That's why I think it's a bit cynical.
yeah, only countries that listen to Ronald Reagan are like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm, uh, so many.
Great about the Khalifa secular. Any more good questions? I just realized I'm really high up. One sec. Oh wow, no, no, I was all the way up there. Um, uh, How would Islam work once we get into space? How would the Qibla work on Mars, for example? I don't know, man. It's quite interesting.
I read about a little bit of this. In that there was an astronaut from Saudi Arabia who went to space, and he got a fatwa. Some people were saying because on the International Space Station you get like 16 sunrises and sets in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So the fatwa was that you have to pray according to either the place that you live in or according to the time in Mecca. The same is true for the mosques that exist in the North Pole, one of which is here in Canada. That in that region, Inuvik, I believe the city is called. They break their fast. The length of the fast is according to the time in Mecca. So I think that, but yeah, in space, how did he pray in space? You can just apparently face any direction in space. So maybe on Mars, if something like this, if we come to this point, there would be some sort of a committee that decides, oh, you should face this direction, and maybe everybody will face that direction.
Fair enough. Sorry, man.
You got very good hearing. This person circling duck. The circling duck has got very good hearing.
Swear down, someone's making a chapati in the background.
Yeah.
Are you being serious or are you joking?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Hey, circling duck. I'm a big fan of people who are in tune with their senses. That's gangster.
Yeah.
I got good hearing.
Although I hate ducks.
I didn't even clock that. Very nice.
Yeah. Although I hate ducks, so that's negative points.
What's wrong with you?
Dude, ducks are the worst.
Ducks are amazing. Have you ever had duck? Have you ever eaten duck? Poison duck?
Eaten is a different thing. I just hate ducks in general. I hate the idea of ducks. I think
animals
all ducks should be killed.
I
think we should genetically engineer cats to only eat duck, and then they hunt all the ducks out of existence.
Yeah.
That's my idea.
I think he doesn't have. Okay, we're gonna move past that women thingy because I'm just reading it again. It's annoying. He has any idea how often dudes are terrible? Yeah, they are, but that doesn't mean you can make every dude feel terrible. I'm not terrible to women or my women or any women for that matter. Don't make me feel bad about that. The flip, get out of here. Anyway, listen, Masahib Bati said, can you answer one of my, the questions where people pay for it? What was it?
Yeah, I think we did answer first. Yeah, we did already.
There's another one, by the way, which you're keeping quiet, and I don't appreciate that. Nick93, put it on the screen right now. Protect Hikmah at all costs. Do this right.
Oh, yeah.
Gang. Nick?
Yeah, no, this is...
Nick?
Hikmah is not right. He is almost never right.
Listen, this is my victory speech. Be quiet. Nick, you're appreciated, my dude. All right, let's move on.
Wow. Yeah, still. Yeah, exactly. Still crazy how Umayyads went all the way into France and sinned at the same time. It actually is. Like, when you read about some of these people, like, for example, Umar ibn Abdulaziz, at the same time, he was dealing with people from France and from Sindh. There were people coming to his court from both those places. It's just incredible. If you took a flight from, like, I mentioned this in a video as well, from Bogota, Colombia to Delhi, India, you would be flying over their territory for 13 hours. That's how big their empire was.
Wait, from where to where? Sorry, Bogota, Colombia to where?
That's the only real route that exists from Bogota, Colombia to New Delhi, India. Then you would be flying on Umayyad territory for 13 hours. That's how big their empire was.
That's mad. That's mad. Okay. Sorry, just real quick. I just want to say, somebody said, AJ said, who was the Enlightenment thinker who believed the benevolent dictator is necessary for democracy to exist? I'm not 100% sure. I think it was Thomas Hobbes. But the reason I want you to put it up is because I want other people to tell me who it was. Because Thomas Hobbes wrote Leviathan, I think. And that kind of...
What question is that? I actually don't know that much about Enlightenment thinkers. I only know about one. who's, well, not enlightenment, but I only know about one thinker whose book is always here
Terrible
next
guy.
to me.
You're
Uh,
so, dude.
my
When are
our
you gonna
Lord and
grow up?
Savior.
When are you gonna mature?
Dude, this is the book of our Lord and Savior.
You are so lucky, Syawish. Like, this is a big what if, but if you lived in a country that I ruled, let me just say, like, you would be in trouble.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
that's why no one lets you rule. That's why God doesn't let you rule, because he
I
knows
don't
you're gonna do stuff like that.
know. God would be, well, I don't want to blaspheme, but no, listen, I would be a great ruler. The only reason I'm not ruling right now is because of my socioeconomic situation. But as soon as I get that figured out, your boy's going to be a benevolent dictator. So you better be on your best behavior.
So your socioeconomic situation is above having 5 kids, but below ruling a kingdom.
No, it's above both of them. Oh, right now? No, right
Right
now it's
now.
below both of them. I can't have 5 kids now. You know how much money that would be?
Yeah, exactly. See, you don't know how much money that would be.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean. Just got a stack of books behind him, besides him at all times. Yeah, there's quite a few. Taiwan, Syawish pushing communism hard. Yeah, terrible, terrible. All right, we're kind of running out of steam. Let's give it.
Also, like almost, it's actually 1 here, so I gotta go.
Okay, this was very interesting. I hope I made you change a bunch of your views. Number 1, Syawish, minimum 3 kids you need to have. Number 2, get rid of your flipping cat. Okay, or at the very minimum, no. Listen. This is your problem. You don't listen. At the very minimum, force it to pay some rent somehow, some way. Number 3, you are no longer a communist. I have just ordained you as a non-communist. And number 4, men are not flipping bears, bruv. Stop saying that.
No, bears are. The idea is that bears are better. I don't generally agree with the idea, but that's the idea, that bears are better.
It is a retarded idea.
Actually, the new term is brain rot.
Ridiculous. Bears.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know how listen. Do you know how scary bears are? You know, if you lined up every single animal in the animal kingdom, you get rid of the ones in the sea, right? Because sharks are a madness, killer whales.
Yeah, I hate sea animals. Let's get rid of the ducks as well.
No, hell no, we're not getting rid of ducks. Why would we get rid of ducks?
Ducks are disgusting.
They're beautiful. I love ducks, and they taste good. Anyway, you know, bears are probably the scariest. Pound for pound, they're probably the scariest animal. So it's so cute that they use that example. You know, I'd probably rather fight a lion than a bear. I've got no chance against a bear. They can run fast, they can climb, they can swim. They are agile as a mofo. 4 things. The camera's a bit mad. Bears are literally the physical manifestation of Satan. They are the most dangerous things outside of humans.
Dude, there are only 2 things I know about bears. Not human bears, the other kinds of bears. One is that bears eat beets, and the second is that bears can climb faster than they can run.
They're so scary. Hey, look at this little comment. Would you be scared of a bear walking up to you at night or human? I love that. Go on, answer that.
Honestly, both. Dude, come on. Like, you're in the woods, you don't know a person, and he's walking up to you. With the bear, you can just pretend to be dead. With the human, you cannot even pretend to be dead.
I know you're just trolling me right now. Dude, what is wrong with you? If a human approaches you at night, yeah, you're going to be a little on edge. You make sure your posture's right. You're ready to swing, ready to run, ready to poke them in the eye, something. But it's just a little bit of being on edge. A bear, you're dead.
What if the person has a gun?
Well, then it doesn't make a difference. Or honestly, then I would choose the human still, because it's a quick death. Bullet to the head, gone. A bear, dude, they're going to rip out your fleshy part first whilst you're alive. That's not a vibe, man.
The bear is just gonna eat you. You don't know what the human's gonna do. He might make you get a job, or he might do stuff to your butt. You don't know what the human's gonna do. The humans are capable of a lot worse than bears.
Oh, absolutely. That's because we're intelligent. We have intelligence. Intelligence is inherently dangerous. I'm sorry for being intelligent. My bad. Somebody
Yeah,
punched me in
exactly.
the head, so I lose some brain cells. Get out of here, man.
Dude, you already have like 3.
Look, Inferno Comet. I would be relieved to see a human in the woods.
Have you seen any 80s horror movies?
Syawish, you're not a serious guy, bro. You're not a serious guy. What are you doing?
Yeah, I believe the rule is the same with humans. If it's brown, lie down. If it's okay, that was racist. Sorry.
No, I know why you laughed. I know why you laughed.
Yeah,
Mr.
sorry.
Political correctness, I know why you laughed. That's
Dude,
rude.
somebody's asking, did you add any coins to your collection? No, actually, I've been trying to buy the standing caliph coin from Abdul Malik's time, but I haven't found one that's in a good enough condition. The only good enough ones that I found are gold, and they're like really expensive, like $300-400. So I'm not getting into that.
Hey, Syawish, listen, do me a quick favor, please. Somebody just asked, do I have a Discord server? I'm not really active on it like that, but post my Discord server, please. How do I do that? One sec. Invite people.
Dude, I don't know your Discord server, to be honest.
No, I'm doing it now. No, I'm gonna do it now, and then you're gonna pin it. Try to pin it. Put it on the screen and pin it. There you go, Masahib. Okay. Would you wish to be alone with a Taliban member or a bear? Come on, bro. Taliban member all day, every day, man. What the flip? A bear, you're dead. Do we not know what bear is?
Dude, you don't know the things about Taliban member. They're kind of, you can be alone with a member of the Taliban in the woods, but you cannot be alone with them in a madrasa because of the things that they do to kids there.
Okay, first of all, it's all about probability. With a bear, you got 0% chance. With a Talib, you got at least 85, 90% chance of being okay. Okay? They're not flipping all weirdos. Hey, Al-Muqaddimah is a racist. You guys heard it here first.
Dude!
Yeah, you are racist.
Okay, how about this?
Pin my flipping thing.
I don't see your flipping thing. Did you post it?
I did. Discord.
I don't see
you rather
it
be
anywhere.
with a bear or a...
I think your comment got yeeted. Is yeeted still a thing?
I don't know what that means.
Dude, you're not up to date on kid slangs.
I thank God. I don't care. The hell?
Dude, wow. Why are you so racist?
Hey, listen. This mythology, my guy, just your comments alone today is going to make me go through a flipping binge of your videos. Would you rather be with a bear or a bear, a gay band? I don't want to get cancelled.
Well, you gotta give an answer to that. Also, I really do not see your. I think it was because it had a URL in it, and maybe it got taken down.
Joe Olinka, 85 to 90. What do you think the Taliban are going to do to you? I don't get it.
Did they do awful things to kids in madrasas and stuff?
But you understand that's a minority of them, right? It's not. Are you being serious, Syawish? You think they just casually just do pedophilia on a...
Dude, don't say that word. It's YouTube.
Oh, the P word on a mass scale. What are you doing? What are you?
Yeah.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Dude, it's like the second most common thing that they do.
What's the first?
I'll send you a text.
What are you talking about? Bachabazi?
Dude, stop saying that. It's fine.
People just hear. Is this what the internet's about? You just hear like a couple of phrases and you think, oh, like I know everything. You know that the Taliban,
Is this your first day on the internet?
Obviously, there are people within every organization that do mad stuff. But you do know they punish for things like bachabazi, right? And not in a nice...
Do they really?
Oh, I'm going to give you a fine.
Dude, I know how things go in our countries. It's an open secret who does it. And, you only get caught when things go very, very bad. Okay, let's not talk about that. Should we end
Listen. No.
Should we end the stream? Because
No, we're not gonna end it. This is important. You're besmirching the name of Afghanistan, the country that I got
no,
roots
not
in.
Afghanistan,
You
just
know,
Taliban.
every little kid that goes through that, they have a brother, they have an uncle, they have a father, yeah, and not 100% of the time, but a good amount of the time, especially if you just have a little bit of ability to empathize, those male relatives are going to feel some sort of way against the person that did bad things to their kid. And then you just use your common sense to fill in the blanks of what happens. I'm telling you, that stuff is not as prevalent as you think. What the hell?
Dude, you're not, dude, it's like, where do you think I'm from?
Okay, but with all due
Okay.
respect, where I'm
Honestly,
from, where
this
you're
is
from,
getting darker, so let's change the topic. I was
let's
not
talk about darkness.
besmirching.
Let's
I was
embrace the
not.
darkness. I love the darkness. I was born
I
in the
was
darkness.
not.
I
First
was
of all, I was
molded
not.
by the darkness.
I was not
get that
besmirching
reference?
the name of your country. I was just besmirching the name of Taliban.
Okay, but also, it's not like I have that much of an affinity to the Taliban, but you understand that the Taliban are like hugely different. This incarnation from that incarnation. They are the night and day. Like, it's almost two different organizations. You know that, right? I hope people know that, please.
Yeah, let's move
real,
on.
like,
I want to answer this. I'm from Pakistan, actually. Oh yeah, this would be interesting. Well, this wouldn't be interesting. I can kind of predict. What are your thoughts on Andrew Tate?
as mad as this is gonna sound, I haven't really thought about it that much. Okay, so that is not a cop out. I'm still gonna talk about what my opinion, but I haven't done that much research. Okay, so the fact that he has a background in essentially, it's not prostitution, but it's also not a million miles away from prostitution. Big no for me. Not a big fan of that. Okay, clearly. On the other hand, the fact that he is, let me see, let me get my words right. How do I say this? He is acting as a bulwark, as a lightning rod behind which a certain type of a sentiment can unite. I like that. One more time. The fact that he is serving as a lightning rod behind which a certain sentiment can unite behind. I kind of messed it up. I should have just continued the first time. That I am appreciative. All this anti-man sentiment that men should feel bad about the fact that they are dangerous, that they are dangerous to everything around them, that we need to go against the patriarchy, we need to go against all of this thing. And the fact that he's standing in front of that and saying, no, not only is that wrong, I am proud, and other young men should also be proud of being men, of being virile, potent men that are the best versions of themselves. I think history will favor him incredibly positively for that. Incredibly. And there is many different things you can say about that. I'm thinking ahead. History is going to judge him positively, but also going to afford him a really, really big name and big legacy. In 50, 60 years time, I probably won't be alive, but even in like 40 years time, inshallah, I'll still be alive. We can still have this conversation then. Trust me. There is many things to say about that. This one is that it demonstrates just how messed up society is, that Andrew, I don't know you, but that you are seen as the symbol of resistance, when realistically speaking, I don't know about grifter. I don't fully even understand what grifter means, but that background that you have in escorting prostitution and whatnot, I'm not gonna lie, would basically prevent you, in my humble opinion, not so humble opinion, from having a position of authority in society like that. It just shows you how much society has fallen, that a guy of this caliber is playing such a prominent role. But that role that he is playing, I think he has to deserve props. If we just isolate that one thing, okay, that's what I think. But I need to be more.
He is the Elon Musk of this male red pill industry. There are genuine problems that men have, and on some points he's right. But all of that bullshit about
what's red pill? What's red pill?
You don't know what red pill is. You don't know what red pill is. I'm gonna step my
category on things.
What?
Why you gotta put a category on things? What is red pill?
Dude, it's like the men thing.
Menting? Okay,
Okay,
what?
there's a book called Of Boys and Men.
When was it
It's
written? I'm not reading any. If it's modern, like in the last 5 or 10 years, and if it doesn't have a basis in science, I'm not reading it if it's about flipping gender or whatever.
When have you ever read a book that has a basis in science?
Oh, that's so cute, Syawish. You don't know.
Actually, I'm gonna ask you, when have you ever read a book? I didn't even know you could read.
Okay, I'm gonna ignore the second question. No, I read. I'll be honest, not that many books. I've read a couple, Steven Pinker, whatever, Blank State stuff like date ones. But no, I read a bunch of journals.
Okay, no, the book
about like evolutionary science, behavioral ecology, just anything to do with like biological anthropology. I read a fair amount about that stuff, man.
Okay,
and
the
I
book
also read a bunch of
let
scientific
me,
journals
dude.
about children's developments, a bunch of them. So nah, don't put
This is not about children's development. It's a book about like the problems that men face, and there's a genuine sort of sense of purposelessness that young men have, and all these things. But Andrew Tate is he's just using that to make money and fame, and he's sort of blown it out of proportion on the whole thing. Oh, you got to be a Sigma male, you got to make women do this, and you got to do this to.
That's
It's just
funny
bullshit.
though.
It's just a market.
Yeah.
But just a second, I want to answer this question real fast. What do you guys think of Robert G. Hoyland? I am a big fan of the guy's work, and honestly, I want to get him on this channel and talk about him a lot about that stuff. I really like his work. He is I think he is sort of in the middle of the most revisionists and the most traditionalists. Like, for example, he does hold up to a lot of ideas of the revisionist school, but he also says that the earliest Islamic sources, they sort of paint a similar picture to Islamic tradition. So I really like his work. I have his book, Seeing Islam as Other Side. It's a book that I read a lot, but I've never really gotten into making a video on it. So I am definitely planning on making a video on him, or at least having him on the channel.
Oh wow, I've never heard of this guy. He was a student of Patricia Crone. Damn.
Yeah, but he's not fully aligned with Patricia Crona's ideas now. He's much different than that. But yeah, I really like his ideas about Islam in general.
Oh wow, I'll be honest, I've never heard of this guy, but I'm reading through some of his bibliography right now.
Yeah, Seeing Islam as Other Side is a very, very it's sort of a very important book of early Islamic history, because a lot of work has been derived from that because of the fact that he translated so many sources.
Huh. I'm gonna check this.
Somebody was asking me about. Somebody said something about Tom Holland, the author. I don't consider him to be a historian, to be honest.
Yeah.
I consider him to be a storyteller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Okay, question's right. Have you seen The Glassmaker? It's a Pakistani anime movie. A lot of my friends worked on that movie. So I would have watched it if it was in Pakistan, but it has not been released in Canada. But I know a lot of people who worked on it. I have certain people who worked on it as well. So yeah, it's definitely a movie that I know of.
Yeah. Anything else?
Do you want to ask something? Because I actually have to go. So,
man, these guys are going at each other. Nowhere, no. What the hell? Fight.
Dude,
We're just talking. Calm down. What color is your Bugatti? He claims he's
exactly. Andrew Tate is exactly a grifter. He has made jokes about, for example, Greta Thunberg. He has made
who's Greta
Thunberg? The climate girl.
Oh, that chick is bare annoying, man. I'll be honest.
Dude, it's not about that. It's not about annoyance.
Bare annoying. Her face doesn't have expressions. And then when she randomly gets angry and goes on a run, it's like, be quiet, man. Leave me alone. But I like her cause. The environment is very important. But she's annoying. What the hell? I don't like looking at her
Dude,
face.
annoying
She's
is a
dead
different
serious.
thing, but he has. I mean, he is a Muslim. He claims he's a Muslim, but he has made a lot of said things, done things that are really, really un-Islamic for him. So really liking him, not really a good thing, I think, for Muslims or
Fair
men in
enough. But
general.
remember, guys, because I know what life is like on the internet, believe it or not, whatever, people twist your words. The lightning rod as a resistance to certain dumb ideas that have been prevalent in the last 15 years regarding men, regarding gender, regarding all of this sort of stuff. For that, Tarek gives him a thumbs up. Okay. All the other things, yeah, I'm not giving him a thumbs up. I don't really know that much. The only thing that I do know is that whole escorting thing, which I'm not a fan of. So just remember the lightning rod as a resistance for certain dumb ideas. That's it. Yeah. All right, people. This was interesting. The fun unhinged ones. I don't think I'm unhinged. John
But
Operendi, thank you for exposing me to Robert G. Hoyland. I'd never heard of him. I'm definitely going to check him out. So thank you for that.
dude, you should like. Can't believe you don't know about Hoyland. Do
I
you know
know.
about Shoemaker?
No. I'm
Dude,
reading his Wikipedia and I'm shocked I haven't come across him. It makes no sense.
Stephen Shoemaker. You gotta read about people like that. See, you gotta read more books. You don't read. That's the problem.
I read what I want to read. Okay, you know
Yeah.
what I read? I read two things. One is my own interests, which don't inherently have to do with history, and then the other is just things for my videos. So if I'm making a video about 20th century Lebanon, the flip is Robert Hoyland going to do for me? You know?
No,
Um,
but you should read about Robert Hoyland because
no, but
that's.
now
Well,
that I know
I
about
guess
him,
you
I'm
don't.
gonna.
I guess you don't have an interest in early Islamic history, but yeah, I have a lot of interest in that, and I'm actually gonna make a lot of videos about that. So I might end up pivoting to that more than history. Like people are often commenting about asking me to make videos about the Fatimid Caliphate or this or that empire, but I'm actually thinking of like recent years. I've made more video essays. I like to think. Um,
Yeah, I think
and
that's
you
the
know,
difference between me and you, though, because like me, I'm pivoting my channel's content more towards the modern, and you're going further back. I do have
mm,
interest, the same way I know you have interest with the modern. I do have interest with early Islam, but the modern obviously outweighs it.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's the same. And also, this person, don't be too revisionist, please. I don't agree with revisionism. Um, I do agree with some of their ideas, to be honest, true, but not not like I don't believe that their basic fundamental idea is that Islamic tradition is not reliable. I don't believe that. So yeah,
A lot of people saying we need a united channel. See, I wish I've been telling you this for 18 months. What's
dude.
going on?
Here, here's the thing. What are we gonna do with the United Channel?
What do you mean? We make videos.
What are we gonna do there that we haven't done here or our own channels?
No, but obviously we make the structure different because there's two of us now. There will be a little bit more of a interactive aspect of it.
Okay, before we leave,
Go on.
there's someone who wants to say bye.
All right.
Aw, dude,
Greyjoy,
he wants to say bye.
Greyjoy, you're a decent lad. Is it a male or a female?
He is a lad, male.
Greyjoy, you're a decent lad. I gave you a bad rep. I hope there isn't too much beef between me and you.
Dude, he's
What
such a
you
cutie
do,
pie.
but Syawish, I was serious. He does need to stop paying some rent. I don't know, man.
Dude, he pays for rent with his cuteness.
You're so.
Aw, he wants to go now. Dude, okay, fine. I'll let you down. Dude, calm down.
Nah, man. I don't like.
So yeah, all right, we'll leave this here, and then we should have more live streams. Let's do one every month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He matches my shirt. He actually matches all the every clothing item that I have is either black or gray, so he matches all of them. Then that way you cannot see his hair on my shirts.
Okay. People, thank you. This was very
Thank you very
interesting.
much.
I know people are very sensitive on the internet, and I hope what I have said will not be taken out of context. I am not apologizing for anything. Screw that. Don't be ridiculous. Yeah, we can all have differing opinions on things, and we don't need it to escalate into something weird.
Yeah.
Please be respectful, because that's one thing on the internet, the whole Me Too movement, just the PC culture that drives me insane. As strongly as you feel about your opinion, I feel about my opinion. Okay? So you're being disrespectful when I espouse my opinion and you go, "Oh my God, you really think that?" Yeah, I do. You really think that. So let's all be civilized. Where did you post this? Are
Yeah.
you gonna
But
oh, go on.
the difference is that my opinions are right and yours are not.
No, that's the cute thing. I'm 100% sure that I'm right. I'm trying to be civilized by saying, "Oh, we can have differences of opinion." You're clearly wrong, by the way. Everybody knows it. If you have 30 IQ points, you'll be able to figure that out. But I'm just trying to be civilized. That's how civilized your boy is, Syawish.
Dude,
Feel me?
dude, okay, let me answer this question. No, I'm not, but if somebody knows someone, let me know. I'm looking.
Oh, married? Oh, okay. All right, damn.
Yeah,
That's
what about
just
you? Are you married?
that is nobody's business. So
But the Turks. Okay, cool.
yeah.
Cool.
All right. All
Hikmah is
right.
kind of private about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Goodbye, people.
All right, goodbye. Thank you very much for joining, everybody, and thank you, Tariq, for joining us. We'll
Go
do
subscribe to
more
Secret
of
History.
these.
It is the better version of Al Muqaddimah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's really not. Although it has been doing very well recently, the subscriber gain has been really good,
The boy's trying.
impressive, good work.
The boy's trying. Come on. I'm trying out here. I'm trying.
Yeah, you're doing good work. All right, I'm ending the stream now.
All right.
Bye.
Love is. Goodbye. Fly Paman.